The first blip appeared at 6:44 hours. At first, no one cared. On the scope, it looked like a glitch, a flicker of static dancing across the dark, sea-east Wake Island. But then the trace sharpened. It wasn't drifting. It was moving. Fast. And it was headed straight for them. Inside the Combat Direction Center of a USS Enterprise, a steel fortress humming with caffeine, tension, and the low murmur of overlapping voices, Commander Michael Cross leaned over the glowing map table. His jaw tightened. The trace wasn't fading. "Contact," he asked without looking up. "Confirmed," replied one of the radar officers. His voice cracked. "Single craft. Altitude climbing. Vector directly toward the fleet." Cross's pen tapped against the table, each click a metronome of rising unease. "ID. Negative. No transponder, no IFF, no registry. Just raw heat." Silence swallowed the room. Because this wasn't just any stretch of ocean. Out there, beyond the mist, the Pacific Task Group was conducting the most classified naval exercise in over a decade. Dozens of ships, billions of dollars in hardware, thousands of lives, all converging in one place. And now something or someone was diving straight at them. Cross didn't hesitate. His voice was flat. "Launch intercept." The order rippled through the ship like a shockwave. 3 decks above, steam hissed from catapults. The USS Nevada roared alive as 6 F-22 Raptors were thrown into the sky, one after another, each trail of fire cutting against the pale dawn. They rose fast, slicing through 32,000 feet in under 3 minutes. 6 steel predators, forming a tightening jaw around the intruder. Every crosshair locked, every missile armed. From her lead jet, Captain Emma Blake, call sign Widow, punched the comms. Her voice was calm, professional, the kind of calm that masked the edge of fear. "Unidentified Hornet, this is Echo Lead. You are entering restricted naval airspace. Turn away immediately or you will be fired upon." The channel hissed with static. Then a voice cut through. A woman's voice. Steady. Cold enough to fracture glass. "This is Sophia." The Raptors froze in formation. Even Widow's hand slipped from the trigger. Back in the control room, the comms console flared alive. Computers scrambled, voice recognition, software locking onto the transmission. One word appeared on screen, glowing like a curse dragged from the grave. "Sophia." Cross's brow furrowed. He turned to Admiral Robert Hale, standing tall behind him. "Sir, that call sign was decommissioned 12 years ago." The Admiral didn't speak. He didn't need to. Everyone in that room already knew. Up in the sky, the Hornet came into view. It didn't fly. It danced. Angles sharp, movements exact, the kind of precision that only comes from years of obsession or something born for the cockpit. No decals. No markings. Just a gray predator hugging the edge of sound, taunting every sensor pointed at it. Blake swallowed hard. Command, visual contact established. Bird is clean. No friendlies on record. No coalition markings. Orders. Cross's voice snapped across comms. "Weapons hold. Repeat, weapons hold." The Hornet dropped low, threading under the Raptor formation like a shadow cutting through sunlight. And then it dove. Straight toward the deck of the Enterprise. "Sir, she's diving." On the flight deck below, crew scattered, alarms wailed, and the sea itself seemed to shudder as the Hornet screamed past the island tower at 250 knots, so close you could see the rivets in its frame. No salute. No warning. Just thunder. Every sailor on deck froze, not from protocol, but from something else, something colder. Recognition. The jet leveled, pulled up, and circled the carrier in a slow, deliberate orbit. Not aggressive. Not hurried, almost claiming the sky as her own. And then her voice again, crackling through secure channels. "Enterprise. I never got my landing the last time. This time, I'm not asking." Down on the deck, men and women shielded their faces from the jet wash, eyes wide. None moved to stop her. No scramble. No countermeasures. Just silence, broken only by the dull hum of engines and the collective heartbeat of a crew who knew a ghost had returned. Inside CIC, Admiral Hale's voice was low but certain. She wants to land. Cross looked at him, searching for a trace of doubt. There was none. If she was hostile, the Admiral continued, we'd already be gone. The room tightened. Eyes flicked to screens, to the orbit vector holding steady, to the name glowing like an open wound in the archives. Sophia. A pilot who was never supposed to exist again. A legend whispered about in sealed corridors. A ghost stamped do not re-engage. And now she was home. She circled above them, waiting. The question was no longer if they'd let her land, but why she had come back at all. The Hornet's second pass was lower, intentional, precise. Every eye on the flight deck followed her descent as if gravity itself had slowed down. The arresting cables were primed, the crew frozen in half steps, unsure whether to salute, dive for cover, or simply watch the impossible. Her landing gear dropped exactly 3 seconds before the touchdown zone. No radio call, no request for clearance, just precision. The wheels kissed steel. The cable caught. In less than 3 seconds, the jet roared, screeched, and came to a shuddering halt. And then silence. No one moved. Not the deck chief. Not the fire crew. Not even the junior ensign gripping his checklist, so hard his knuckles went white. The jet hissed as steam bled from its frame. The canopy cracked open with a slow, deliberate sigh. She emerged. Not a phantom. Not a myth. Flesh and blood. Sophia. Her flight suit clung with salt and sweat, zipped to the collar. No patches. No rank. No insignia. Just the faint, unmistakable outline of a trident inked into the fabric at her throat. Helmet under her arm. Boots steady on steel. Eyes, those piercing green eyes, scanning the deck like she could still read every soul by how they stood. The air boss, 30 years in uniform, whispered it before he could stop himself. She's still alive. She moved without hesitation, without asking, without acknowledging the frozen crew who watched her as if the ocean itself had spat out a ghost. Every step echoed, boots striking steel like a drumbeat from the past. Bulkheads seemed to remember her, corridors hummed faintly, as though the ship itself recognized its prodigal child. The whispers spread faster than she walked. Sophia's aboard. Not a Sophia. The Sophia. The one who vanished during Operation Blackshade. The one who supposedly saved the 7th Fleet from a drone strike no one was supposed to know about. The one who refused medals, refused command, refused to die when the record said she had. Rumors raced ahead of her. Some said she defected. Some said she was buried in a sealed report. Others swore she worked for shadows beyond the Navy, beyond Washington, beyond any chain of command. Now she was here, boots on steel, every inch alive. Sophia reached briefing room Delta. No hesitation. No guards. She stepped inside. 12 officers already sat around the long table. Intelligence. Aviation Command. Special Operations. Their voices had been sharp moments before, dissecting war games and simulations. Now they were silent. Every head turned to her. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. She walked to the center table, set her flight bag down, and unzipped it. From inside, she pulled a single object and placed it gently on the steel. A weathered patch. Seal trident. Real metal. Scratched at the edges. The kind that wasn't handed out lightly and never abandoned casually. No one breathed. Admiral Hale stepped forward, his voice rough with something caught between awe and accusation. You picked quite a time to come back. Her reply was cold, unyielding, the same voice that had cracked glass over comms. I didn't come back. I was never gone. The officers exchanged uneasy glances. The wait in the room wasn't protocol. It was memory. One man, Commander Reyes, Black Ops liaison, leaned in. What's in the Hornet, Sophia? Classified? By who? She locked eyes with him. Higher than you. The temperature seemed to drop. Reyes sat back. Hale studied her, arms folded. You walk in here with no clearance, no orders, no explanation, and expect us to what? Hand you the keys. Sophia leaned forward, hands braced against the table. I didn't come for permission, Admiral. I came for time. 30 minutes on the flight deck. Encrypted airspace. And your eyes off my bird until I'm airborne again. Those sound like orders. Her voice cut sharper. Call it survival. Yours, not mine. For a long moment, the room was silent. The kind of silence that felt radioactive. Then Commander Cross, standing near the encrypted console, whispered something under his breath. Crow protocol. Heads snapped toward him. The phrase carried weight, like a dead language suddenly spoken aloud. A program that wasn't supposed to exist anymore. A program burned from the record 12 years ago. Admiral Hale's voice dropped low. Crow protocol was terminated. Sophia's eyes didn't flinch. No, it was paused. The silence broke into whispers, disbelief, fragments of names and operations buried beneath decades of black ink. But Sophia had already straightened, pulling the trident patch back into her pocket. She didn't wait for orders. Didn't wait for permission. Her boots echoed as she walked toward the hatch. Clear my path, she said softly. And then she was gone, leaving behind only silence and the unmistakable scent of something that had never left. A storm waiting. The crew had seen a ghost step back into flesh. The question now was not what she wanted, but what she had brought with her. The flight deck was alive again, but not with routine, with whispers, with fear, with expectation. Sophia's Hornet sat like a coiled animal, steam rising off its frame. No one touched it. No one dared. Mechanics, who had serviced Raptors for decades, backed away the moment their eyes caught the faint outline of the trident stitched into her undershirt. She didn't ask for help. She didn't need it. Inside the cockpit, her hands moved with the rhythm of memory. Switches flicked, gauges humming back to life, twin engines roaring with the fury of something that had been asleep too long. The deck trembled. The ship seemed to hold its breath. And then, with no request for clearance, Sophia's Hornet surged forward and tore into the sky. In the CIC, Admiral Hale stood behind the radar station, eyes locked on the single blinking icon racing eastward into open air. Where the hell is she going? Someone muttered. Commander Michael Cross didn't answer. He was hunched over the encrypted terminal, knuckles white, trying to pry open files buried under 10 layers of blackout clearance. Files even the Admiral's override couldn't touch. A single line decrypted. Just one. Crow protocol. If reactivated, do not interfere. Agent operates outside Joint Command. Objective override strategic protocol. Cross's voice was hollow when he read it aloud. She's above us. She's above all of us. The room went cold. At 30,000 feet, Sophia leveled her Hornet. The sky stretched wide, endless blue thinning into silence. Her HUD flickered. Then it came alive. Operator Crow, active. Authorized agent, Sophia. Her breath slowed. No surprise. No fear. Just a quiet recognition, like answering a call she had always known would come. A secondary interface appeared beneath her throttle readout. A stream of unfamiliar code scrolled fast, symbols she hadn't seen in over a decade. And then, target acquisition. Altitude, 43,000 feet. Speed, Mach 1.8. ETA, 7 minutes. Designation, unknown stealth platform. Not NATO. Not Russian. Not Chinese. Something else. Back aboard the Enterprise, the encrypted alert system flashed red. Lieutenant Yun, Cyber Systems Lead, swallowed hard. Sir, that object wasn't detected until now. Heat signatures faint, masked. It's flying blind straight toward carrier space. Identify it. Hale barked. We can't, Yun whispered. It doesn't match anything we know. The deck was silent. Everyone felt it, the weight of something that shouldn't exist. Up in the sky, Sophia banked hard, angling for intercept. Her radar locked, and the object blinked back. Not with a missile, not with a jamming burst, but with a data stream. Her HUD flooded with static. The Hornet shuddered, vibrations running through her bones, not mechanical but primal, like the air itself was rejecting her. Her screens went dark. For a moment, she was flying blind. And then, a message appeared. Target acknowledges. Identity pending. Her jaw clenched. She forced the Hornet into a roll, diving beneath the anomaly, coming up behind it. That's when she saw it. Matte black. Angled curves not found in any human design. No wings. No tail. A shape that looked wrong. Like a shadow sculpted from silence. It wasn't flying. It was gliding. And then it tilted. Slowly. Deliberately. Facing her. Sophia's hand hovered over the trigger. Missile armed. One squeeze, and it would be gone. But before she could fire, her HUD went black again. Then came the voice. Not digital. Not mechanical. Not from any frequency she recognized. A whisper. We remember you, Sophia. Her blood turned to ice. She dove hard, braking pattern, spiraling downward into defensive loops. But the object didn't chase. It hovered, watching, and then vanished. Not faded. Not cloaked. Gone. Her cockpit was shaking. Her breathing ragged. She pulled hard on the stick, steadying, forcing control back into the Hornet. Systems rebooted one by one. Her HUD came alive again. A single line of code appeared. Intercept successful. Protocol complete. Recording sealed. Proceed to drop point echo. Her eyes scanned the words, unblinking. It wasn't victory. It wasn't even confirmation. It was a statement. Cold. Final. And then a second line appeared. One meant only for her. He's alive. For the first time in 12 years, Sophia's breath caught. Her hands trembled on the stick. Her lips parted. A whisper so soft the cockpit mic didn't even catch it. Impossible. She had gone into the sky to intercept a ghost. What she found instead was a message that should not exist. Someone, something, was telling her that the dead don't stay buried. The Enterprise's hangar bay was a cathedral of steel and whispers. Word had already spread. Sophia had gone airborne again. No clearance, no escort, no explanation. But in the CIC, the tension had shifted from disbelief to dread. On the main screen, sonar feeds bled static. Destroyers at the edge of the task group were losing comms one by one. The sea itself seemed to hum, low, steady, unnatural. Admiral Hale's face was pale beneath the fluorescent glow. Status. Unknown, Lieutenant Yin replied. We're tracking something. Subsurface. Massive. Too slow to be mechanical. Too warm to be geological. A red stamp pulsed across the screen. Project Siren. Rear Admiral Jonathan Reed, old scars carved deep into his face, stood rigid in the operations chamber. He had been silent until now. His voice, when it came, was weighted with something heavier than command. We lost it 12 years ago. Mariana Trench. An entire retrieval op gone dark. No wreckage. No signal. Just silence. Commander Cross turned toward him. You knew. Reed didn't answer. He couldn't. His eyes were locked on the screen, watching the shape move beneath the fleet like an ancient animal stirring. Meanwhile, above the waves, Sophia flew low, her Hornet kissing the edge of the sea spray. Her HUD flickered again. Not code this time. Images. Grainy archive footage. A cockpit recording. A pilot's laugh, warm, familiar. The camera jostled, banking through canyon walls at impossible speed. And then the reflection. Not the pilot. Someone behind him. A woman. Same jawline. Same green eyes. Her breath caught. Daniel. Her brother. Back on the Enterprise, Reed tapped the console. The footage froze. He died that day, the Admiral said softly. Or, at least we thought he did. Until this reactivated when your jet crossed the corridor. Sophia's voice came through the comms, calm but sharp. He's alive. Reed's eyes closed briefly. Or whatever found him still thinks he is. The ocean trembled. Every ship in the fleet felt it, the deep vibration echoing upward through steel hulls and human bones. On sonar, one read that was moving toward them. Not fast, but inevitable. Destroyer 5 just lost comms. Now Destroyer 7. The screen was going dark, one vessel at a time. Sophia's voice whispered across secure channels, low and certain. Then we move first. The sky darkened. Not with weather. With something older. Sophia's Hornet dove toward the waterline, engines screaming against the pull of something unseen. Below her, the sea glowed faintly. Bioluminescent veins traced patterns across the surface, glowing like symbols, like a language. The water broke. Not violently, gently. Something vast rose from beneath, an enormous dome, veins pulsing with light, almost alive. The fleet froze. Every sailor, every officer, staring from the decks. The ocean had brought something back. Her comms clicked. But it wasn't radio. It wasn't human. A voice filled her helmet. A voice inside her. You shouldn't have come. Sophia gripped the stick tighter, jaw set. Her panels red-green. No warnings. No locks. But every instinct screamed threat. The voice again. Your name was erased to protect you from us. Her HUD blinked. A call sign appeared. One she hadn't seen in 13 years. Razor 6. Her breath shattered. Daniel. The dome opened. Not like a machine. Like a wound healing in reverse. Something emerged. A figure. Humanoid. A pilot's suit scorched, torn, aged by years of silence. Helmet intact. Moving slowly, deliberately. As if the ocean itself was carrying him upward. Her voice trembled a whisper. Razor. The figure raised a hand, palm outstretched. And then the voice, this time not from the sea, not from systems, but from the figure itself. You came back. On the Enterprise, silence spread across the CIC. Admiral Hale's hand hovered above the comms button, but never pressed it. Even command authority bowed to whatever was unfolding above them. This was no longer protocol. No longer war games. This was something older. Recognition. Sophia steadied her Hornet, impossibly low over the glowing sea. She flipped the canopy open. Wind howled into the cockpit, whipping her hair across her face. Salt spray stung her skin. She stood, balancing against the jet's trembling wing. Her eyes locked on the figure, on her brother. 13 years vanished in a heartbeat. What did they do to you? She whispered. The answer wasn't words. It was a vibration beneath her skin, a voice felt rather than heard. I saw the light. I thought it was a signal. It wasn't. The sea pulsed. Symbols blazed across sonar screens, mirrored on satellites and ship hulls alike. An officer whispered on the command deck, "It's not a weapon. It's a key." Daniel stepped closer. His hand brushed hers. For a split second, she felt it, warmth. Laughter in a hangar. A memory of two siblings posing in front of a jet. Then the warmth faded. His voice came, audible now, rough with something not entirely human. It's not coming for you. It's coming through you. The sky shifted. Clouds turned silver. Gold streaked like veins of fire. Above, 6 Raptors circled, not in attack, not in defense, but like sentinels. A vigil. Below, the fleet stood frozen. And Sophia stood face to face with the impossible. Her brother, or what remained of him. The ocean was no longer water. It was light. Lines and symbols burned beneath the surface, pulsing upward, painting the waves with a language no one aboard the fleet had ever seen before. From the carrier decks, sailors stood shoulder to shoulder in silence. No orders given. No chatter. Only eyes turned toward the impossible tableau playing out above them. Sophia balanced on the wing of her Hornet, wind screaming past her, salt spray soaking her suit. Her canopy gaped open. And just meters away, hovering above the glowing dome, stood the figure. Her brother, Daniel. Razor 6. Or the echo of him. He reached out, and the sound of his voice carried not through comms, but directly into her bones. The gate is open. Her lips parted, trembling. Daniel, what did they turn you into? His helmet tilted, the visor glinting faintly with a light that wasn't human. Not turned. Chosen. Not by them. By it. Sophia shook her head, hair whipping across her eyes. You're not making sense. Who's it? The sea answered for him. A low pulse shook the air, vibrating through steel hulls, rattling bolts, making sailors stagger. The ocean lit brighter, symbols shifting like constellations rearranging themselves in real time. From the CIC, Admiral Hale clutched the railing. whispering through dry lips. God help us. Above, 6 Raptors circled tighter, their formation shifting from a net to a ring. Not a trap. Not defense. A ceremony. Protecting her, honoring her. Even the machines remembered. Daniel stepped closer. For the first time, Sophia saw his suit clearly, burned, scarred, patched with something not human metal. And yet still him. The way he stood. The way he turned his head when he said her name. You can stay, he whispered. Remain a legend. Untouchable. Or follow me. And know the truth. Her heart thudded. Loud. Heavy. You're asking me to leave everything. His hand extended farther. The glow of the sea flared with the motion, as if responding. The voice in her mind, the same one that had whispered, "We remember you," echoed again, softer now, almost gentle. It wants you. Not war. Not destruction. You. Sophia's chest rose and fell, breath shallow. Her eyes flicked across the horizon. The destroyers still idling. The massive silhouette of the Enterprise. Hundreds of men and women waiting, watching. Her life. Her world. And then back to Daniel. Her brother. Her ghost. Her hand trembled. She whispered, "Are you still in there?" Daniel tilted his head. His voice broke, half human, half something more. "I remember you. That's what's left." She stepped off the cockpit. Boots met steel wing. Wing met salt air. The jet wavered beneath her, balancing between gravity and defiance. Her eyes burned, but her voice was steady. "Then I'll follow." The sea responded instantly. A beam rose, not fire, not propulsion, but soft silver light. It caught her weight before she could fall, lifted her gently, as though gravity had been rewritten. Daniel was already inside it, waiting. Together, they rose. The Raptors peeled away in perfect arcs, 6 shadows bowing in the sky. On the Enterprise, sailors and officers alike pressed against railings, faces lit in awe, fear, reverence. Not one spoke. Not one moved. They all knew. They were watching history unspool. The anthem came then. Not from speakers. Not from any band or recorded file. It came from the metal itself, from the ships, from the sea, from the very air. A hum that swelled into song. The fleet itself remembering. Rear Admiral Reed stood on the command tower, hands gripping the railing, eyes wet. Dear God, she's leaving with him. Admiral Hale didn't respond. He just stared, jaw clenched, the glow reflecting in his eyes. Sophia's hand closed around Daniel's. For the briefest moment, warmth again. Laughter in a hangar. 2 young pilots posing in front of a jet. Then the warmth shifted into something else. Something vast. Daniel's voice came again. "It's not coming for you. It's coming through you." The sky changed. Blue bled into silver. Gold arced across like veins of light. The beam enveloped them fully. Their bodies blurred into it, dissolved not in fire, but in surrender. And then they were gone. The ocean stilled. The anthem faded. The sky turned blue again. On every radar screen, one new call sign pulsed softly in green. Sophia Plus. Far away, in the deepest archives beneath the Pentagon, a sealed file reappeared. Project Siren status active. One new line was added beneath it. She followed him home. Sophia chose the unknown, stepping into light with the brother she lost. Not vanished. Not erased. Transcended. And now one question remains. Was it salvation, or the beginning of something no one is ready for? If it were you, standing on that wing, faced with a brother returned from the impossible, would you have stayed with the fleet or stepped into the light?